What's up, everyone? Just gonna update you on the status of the race car since we picked it up from MJB Performance in Georgia, getting all the FuelTech stuff wired. We've also took care of some of the other stuff that needed to be done on the car since it's got back. Myself, my family, some of the guys in the shop, a lot of people have been sick, and it's really threw the schedule off kinda. So just now getting around to making this video. This is actually the second video I've made about this, because the one I made last night, I was coughing so much during the video that I thought it just ruined the video, so I just erased it. And here's another one. So hopefully I can make it through this one without coughing my head off. So just before we get into the wiring stuff, you'll notice the car has Lexan now. Not my most favorite thing to do, but we got through it. Looks pretty good. Optic Armor finally come through and got us our stuff that we had ordered 3 months ago. This is the dark tinted, so this will really look good with everything. The windshield, this is their 280Z windshield. Yes, the contour is correct, but I had to cut like 3 inches off all the way around the perimeter to get it to go in the hole. And cutting 1/4 inch Lexan is not the most fun thing in the world. So the contour is great, it just won't go in the hole until you chop it a lot. So got that done, got our window frames done. Everything's just kind of mocked up right now because I'm not gonna bolt in anything for good until after it's wrapped, because all this, I want everything out of the way for the guy when he comes by and does it. See, we got a little aluminum strip here. This is not tight, but single nutsert here and here. 1/4 window bolts down through here. The other glass will, or Lexan will lay right there against it with a little felt strip. So I'm already starting to cough. Let's get some water. So I got that taken care of on both sides. We've actually got fluid in the transmission now. We've got oil in the motor. Put 6 quarts in there. Primed it with the drill on the front of the pump. Just slipped the belt off and primed it. And see, good and green in there. So no leaks. All the rest of our plumbing is on now that we were waiting on. Comes from a fuel pump. The other feed line off of the fuel rails. And check out this. Y'all might not like it, but I do. The fuel rails were something that we added later. We didn't use the plasma man ones because we thought they were a little bit small, so we put -12 ORB fuel rails on there. And Kevin and those guys tried to slick them up a little bit and get them to the same quality polish as the rest of the intake was, or the machine look. But I decided, after putting the carbon tube protectors and all this stuff on here, that why not put some on the fuel rails. And I think it toned it down a lot and made it blend in good with everything. So it worked out great. These are actually for 1.25 inch tube, so they clipped right on there. A couple of dabs of silicone. So let's talk about the wiring. Michael done a phenomenal job. I'll just show you a little bit of pan around of all the details. Try to not talk a lot because I will start coughing. Don't pay attention to our extra little zip tie that we added there. He actually done the plug wires as well. You notice the plug wires, let me just talk about them for a minute. They worked out exactly as planned. Well, can't get the camera in there. But, well, car is so tight underneath. You can see how much room, good access or an extension to get in there and get the plugs out, but a ton of room underneath here where the plug wires are, so no chance of them getting burned or anything like that. Shows you where the battery main power comes through the firewall. Got a nice seals it grommet down here. The other wires coming out. Everything's tucked away super nice. You really have to look to see all the wiring, and that's what I like about the way he done it. He actually pulled the intake off, did the injector and the main harness under the intake where you couldn't see any of that wiring. It really made it look clean. You really don't see that there's anything different in the engine bay much than when we took the car. Man, this thing is dusty because everything is just tucked away so nicely. And we got the main bulkhead right here. Big nice Maven bulkhead. I told him to make sure to use one of them, but he does on all the builds, or all the wiring builds that he does anyway. I call them builds. I guess you'd call when you wire a car a build. I don't know. My clutch switch. Starter button right there. I'm not going to hit it because I got the battery hooked up, because I'm going to show you the inside. Okay, so moving to the inside. All the buttons is hooked up there. Everything's kind of run down the dash bar. The circuit board over there with everything on it. I call it circuit board just because it's a board with fuses and all the distribution stuff on it. He did everything for the trans harness, and actually I'm going to get the correct output speed sensor for this transmission, which Tick Performance sells. It is a Hall Effects replacement for the OEM VR sensor, so you don't have to run a converter for your FuelTech, Holly, or whatever else you're running. But let me show you how everything works here and get the camera around the cage. So up here is my switch panel. This is my battery on off, my in-car control. So I've also got a control in the back, which is, I'll show you right quick. The switch right there beside the tag, which I've got to label it so everybody knows what the heck it is. But turn this switch on. Your FuelTech, everything comes on. Everything has power. So you've got your start button, priming pump, headlights, which will only work when we have the front end on. And this will be a tune select whenever I get that set up in the ECU. It's not set up yet. And this is a dome light for inside if I need to see what's going on before I make a pass, I can just tap that and it'll light up all the inside of the car. And then I just turn it off. That's really convenient to have all of that right above my head, especially the battery, because even the little bit of racing we've done before in this chassis, sometimes somebody would forget to turn my battery on and I'd be screaming at them and they couldn't hear me because the doors were shut and I was all strapped in and nobody can hear me inside my helmet. So that eliminates that. Real quick, whenever we got the car back, we put all the carbon back in. You can see in the back there, all the carbon is back in. Everything's tightened up, buttoned up. Let me show you right through here. But what I also like is this. So we'll switch here. Illuminates everything where you can work on it. Now this controls 3 different lights. You've got the dash bar light, which lights up everything that's important right here on your electronics. It also turns this light on, which will light up your battery area, CO2, drive shaft, rear of the transmission, kind of that way on the car. And you can also see in the back of the car with that light. And then we've got our underglow kit that we stole from our local teenager that thought he was cool. No, just kidding. But this is a very good way to see your shock adjustments, 4-link adjustments at night, stuff like that. And it is dirty under there, and I've still got to tie that one wire up where we had it unhooked. But it shows you everything in the back too, all the carbon. Got the drain for the vent, you see there. See the reflection of the light on the carbon. Got the parachute cable ran. Don't got it hooked up right now because all that's going to come off whenever we wrap it. Which, speaking of, the car is getting wrapped on the 28th of this month. That's when he's coming. It's going to be a very, very long Saturday up here, but the whole car will be done when he leaves. And I probably will not reveal this thing as totally completed until we debut it at Streetcar Takeover Charlotte at ZMAX under our tent. So it's probably going to be a push to try to get all the little details I want took care of before then. But just letting y'all know that I might show you a little bit of a glimpse of a time lapse of the car being wrapped. But after that, that's going to be it until Charlotte. So the updates are about to cease for a couple, well, I guess it'll be about a month or so. But anyway, just really impressed with what Michael done with the wiring. I know I'm jumping around a lot, but now he cranked all this out in about 6 or 7 days. And for all the details that's involved with this stuff, everything nicely wrapped. See this? All this stuff nicely wrapped and hidden. I mean, you really have to look at this car to see any of the wiring on it just at a glance. And I mean, there's a crap ton, in my opinion. He says there wasn't a lot. Now, he said this is not a typical build, and there's not nearly as much wiring on this car as there is most of the cars that he does. But he said the challenging thing was the car is so small underneath the hood, and everything is tucked in there and packaged so tight that he really had to study it to know where he was going to run everything and do everything to make sure it was, you know, as clean as possible. And he really knocked it out of the park. I really appreciate him working with us and being so easy to, you know, run ideas by and stuff like that. So just gonna finish the video up, thanking you guys that have followed the build since the very beginning, since we started this whole 2.0 process. This was back in, I guess, about 3 years ago now would be where this build started since we last raced it. And I hope you guys have learned a lot. I appreciate all the positive comments on YouTube as well. It's like I know I can always come to YouTube to get some positive feedback from you guys. I'm not really a person that has to be fed by positive stuff, but it is encouraging to read the comments of you guys building us up so much, because I don't consider us any more than average as far as the shop goes and the stuff that we do. I think I'm continually learning, and that's what we all should be doing. But I do appreciate all the encouraging comments and stuff along the way with the videos. So like I said, I'll give you a sneak peek of when the car gets wrapped. But for right now, it's probably just going to be some useless details. It's not worth filming until that day comes, which will be the end of this month whenever it gets wrapped. So thanks for watching, and my daughter's sitting there waiting on me to take her home. So we're out of here. See you.